Hi, Woody.
What's up, Ev?
How are you?
Good.
Let's get right to Isaiah since he was in there before you. As we stand now, uh, what's his role in this club?
I think he's every day that kind of goes by, he's making that more and more. I think that his role is, just looking at him from last year to this year, um, just his commitment to everything, who he is, how he conducts himself, and then to see the changes in his swing, his body, watching BP. I mean, it's been obviously we've all been impressed, but it's getting to the point where it's going to be hard for me not to have him in the lineup. And that's kind of the goal of every player I've told. Solex in that category. Danny Santana earned that spot last year. Everybody that comes, into camp or on our team, I want to have that mentality. And, Kiner's making it really hard. And I'm not saying he's going to play every day, but he's kind of making it seem that he should. And that's all I can ask, obviously, for every player. So I don't know what his role is. I mean, his role is to obviously, play a heck of a third base, be a really good backup shortstop, can play second base, can play first base if we needed. Told me he can play outfield, can probably play center. I know he can catch. So I don't think there's a spot where I can't put him.
Do you feel like you've got some real considerations for the idea of playing him predominantly at third base with Frazier moving over to across the diamond? Is that a real possibility?
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
And when since he's come back, you've seen the same thing that you saw in spring training.
Yeah. And, I was a little worried, because a lot of times, spring training, you see sometimes, guys hit really well or they just got to get in the groove early on or, it's the Arizona air. They just, a lot of first pitch fastballs and they just, get a lot of hits. So their numbers look better than they really are. And then the season starts, the third deck comes on and things change. So what I'm seeing is, his commitment to the strike zone. Like I said, his BP, his swing and BP is the same as his game. He's squaring every ball up. The times he has had two strikes, he's battled. He doesn't give it bats away. His bat to ball is, probably better than anybody we have on the team. Him and Elvis are probably at the top. Him and Willie as well. So now that he's added a little more thump behind his swing, he's dangerous. He's just a dangerous at bat up there. And the way he defends, he pop up down the line yesterday. I mean, he made that look pretty easy. That was over. He ran a long way for that ball from third base. So, he brings a lot to our ball club.
Thank you.
Other questions? DR?
Chris, Robinson Chirinos told us this morning that he's trying to wear a mask underneath the mask when he's catching because of his proximity to the batter and the umpire. And I didn't realize about this until Levi brought up the subject, but is that a topic of discussion? Is that something that your other six catchers should embrace as well? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's, they're not forced to do that, obviously, but, if Robbie feels comfortable, yeah, it is something I think we can talk about with our catchers, especially when we get, regardless of whether it's our own team or another team, I think it's, I applaud Robbie for that because it is something to be honest with you, I haven't even noticed because he's in front of me, that he has the mask actually all the way up. But yeah, we can absolutely have that conversation with the rest of our guys, see if it makes sense for everybody.
Chris, what is Mendez? Is he competing for a spot on this in this bullpen, or does he still need a lot of work to get back to where he was?
It's hard. I think everybody is. I'm not ruling anybody out. Some of the younger prospects probably I can rule out, but I think so. I just think he's a little bit behind, and I worry about that. I don't want to hurt the guy, but I don't want to say he doesn't have an opportunity because he has been throwing live BPs. If he comes in, he looks great. Absolutely has a chance, especially with, Brett. If Brett doesn't get cleared before opening day, hopefully he will. We don't have too many lefties, other than Hearn. So, I don't know. I mean, I think I don't want to rule him out, but also, I also am, logically speaking, he is a little bit behind, for the rest of the guys.
Other questions? Stephen?
Afternoon, I got two things I want to ask you about. We were talking to Willie yesterday, and clearly he's still kind of getting used to being back in the box and all that. And just talk about what you've seen of him, and just obviously gonna have an opportunity to play, but just coming back from what he did and what, if he's responding the way you think he should be at this point.
Yeah, I was a little bit worried, knowing Willie, his mentality and the way he competes in the batter's box. I felt confident that it wouldn't bother him as much as it may some other people. I haven't seen it, standing behind. Some of those balls have come kind of close to him, left on left even. One guy, I don't know if it was Taylor that threw one kind of up and in on him, buzzed him a little bit, and his next, take, he was digging right back in the box. So Willie's, with the bat in his hand, is fearless of he doesn't care who's pitching ever. So I've been impressed at just the way he's kind of gone about it. I know that it's still got to be there. I mean, he's a human being. It's not going to completely go away. So I think the more he kind of just has at bats, I think it'll just get easier and easier.
The other thing I was going to ask you about, 6 days in the workouts, and obviously we can't see what's going on across the street. I'm just wondering, just in your perspective, how everything's going, and how you guys are utilizing the across the street, and how everything's going for your staff and everything, kind of making sure everything gets done the way you want it.
Yeah, the only thing we're doing across the street right now is just playing catch. So there's really nothing going on over there that's maybe some PFP, but nothing that's going on over there. In fact, we actually moved a lot of those guys here. We stopped doing that the other day. We actually had some rain. We had to watch out for that. So the last 2 or 3 days, everything has actually been done in this facility, and nothing great has gone on. You're not missing anything.
But so what you've got here, you're able to do what you need to do without any issues and no problems. So it's working out okay.
Yeah, and I think we will transition into some night games where we'll have basically the same setup, but we're just gonna move everything back. I've always wondered why in spring training we always played day games and not night games. So I think starting on the 13th, we're actually gonna play the rest night games to kind of transition or get our guys' bodies ready, for that night schedule. But yeah, we've been able to accomplish everything we've needed to.
Thanks.
Jeff?
Hey, on Chirinos, this is a guy who's caught more than 100 games the last couple of years. Can you see him catching 50 of 60 games, or do you have a plan for how much you want to use him?
I mean, yeah, I could see that. I don't want to kill him, obviously, but I could see that. Maybe 45, maybe the 50 mark. I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll kind of play it as it goes, but I don't really have a set number. I do know that he's going to be back there quite a bit. I also want to obviously, if we have 3 catchers, you got to get those guys involved as well. And there's obviously a lot of comfort in some of our starting pitchers with some of the other guys. So I'm going to do the best I can to try to, get the guys a playing time, but obviously give Robbie the bulk of it.
Okay, and then Guzman was back today.
Mm-hmm.
How important is it to get him back and to get him in the flow so you can make a decision?
Yeah.
Does he have to make a decision?
Exactly, and we all need to see it. I need to see it. I need to see him in there competing in the batter's box, and obviously with him and Bird, we got a decision to make at first, and obviously earlier I didn't rule out the idea of moving Frazier over to first. So, at this point, in a 60-game season, we're going to take the guy who's ready to go the best, and if that means the way Kiner's playing, he's putting a lot of pressure on both those guys. And it's a good thing, honestly. I love Guzzi's defense, and Bird's really been impressive defensively. So we know the defense over there we're comfortable with, but, the at-bats, we need to see those. And Guzzi needs his at-bats right now because he needs to, force us to make a decision one way or the other.
Thank you.
Levi?
Hey, Chris. Coming into camp, Sherton Apostle was one of the younger guys that had kind of been brought up as he might get some playing time this year. I haven't seen him in the lineup much. Can you give us an update on what's going on with him?
Yeah, it was more of a testing issue than it was. A lot of the guys that came from Dominican, we had to have him out. He'll be back in there. Him and Taveras and Tejeda, I'll get them all in there over the next, obviously, week or two. But yeah, he's been impressive. It wasn't a choice of mine. I would rather have him in there for sure.
Thanks.
What else? Jared?
Hey, Woody, I'm curious, how are you going to have to find creative ways to give guys rest, considering the importance of each game compared to a 162-game season? Is that maybe taking guys out of games that are, 5-6 run margins a little earlier? Or how how have you guys considered maybe giving these guys the rest they need, especially in that stretch where you play 30 games in 31 days?
Yeah, I think we do. I think the game will take care of that. You know, guys like Elvis, um, who love to play every day. I think, you know, obviously he's a guy that would probably, you know, use the take him out in the seventh inning if we're up by 8 or 9 or something like that. Other guys, I think the game will take them out. We might get a little bit. I wouldn't say we're going to platoon or anything to that extent with certain guys, but I'll definitely maybe give them some off days when to get the other guys involved. And I know we have 30 guys to start the season, but at the end of it, we only have 26. So that last stretch, you know, we're going to rely heavily on a lot of guys with not a lot of backups to go there.
Thank you.
Other questions? Chris?
Bringing up the younger guys, I'm curious about Josh Young. He had a hit yesterday. What are you seeing from him? He's the organization's top prospect in a lot of publications. And Sam Huff also caught today. What are you seeing from behind the plate with him, like his receiving, his mechanics, and all that?
Josh has been impressive. I saw him last year. Take BP. They had a little mini camp here, instructional league at the ballpark. Got to see him take BP, and talking to our minor league guys, talking to Cody Atkinson and our minor league hitting coaches. He's gotten a lot better. I think we first drafted him. We knew he could hit. He had good bat to ball, good power to right center. He couldn't really pull the ball like he wanted to. And the work that he's committed to over last year and then this offseason and now in this off time, I've seen a different guy. And he's obviously very smart. He understands the game. You put him between the lines, he's a gamer. He loves to have an at bat, loves to play defense. He's a winning player, and now he's understanding a little bit more of the technical aspects to make him a more consistent and better player. So I've been really impressed. And honestly, this guy works hard. I almost have to tell him to stop working so hard because he'll literally run himself into the ground if you let him. So it's obviously the kid's been really impressive. Huffer, similar. The makeup on both those guys are off the chart. Huffer's worked really hard on his. He had to catch some tough guys today. With Jonathan throwing 98-mile-an-hour turbo sinkers. That was a tough matchup as far as framing goes. But he did a good job. And I know he missed a couple, but he's been working really hard with Hector and Bobby Wilson on his framing and his throwing and just game calling. We got a lot of cool things that we're going to have him do, over on the other side as far as game planning and understanding our system. So when he gets here, he's not going to be surprised by anything, and hopefully he can kind of take the reins and go with it.
Just one more quick question on the young guys. I saw Tavares working on jumps up first base. Obviously, his bat is, being focused on. But part of the thing that I'm also kind of noticing is, how much of a base, how good of a base runner he could possibly be. Anything you're seeing there from him?
Yeah, there's last year I know as an organization we really challenged him. He always had a lot of speed. Didn't steal as many bases as we thought he could. With his elite speed. So, I know Rags, was on the minor league side last year, and they just basically pulled him aside. And I had the conversation with him in spring training last year to say, hey man, we need you to elevate your game on the bases. It's going to be demanded at the big league level. So when you get here, you got to be expected to kind of fit right in. And the kid's talented, man. I saw it in the first go around in spring training. With the bat, the technical aspect of his swing, he's worked on really hard. He's a different guy than I saw even last year. So in so many ways, a lot of these younger guys are making huge strides. And to see the way they compete on the field, you could tell Tavares loves to compete. That's the one thing I love about him, is that he loves to be in the batter's box. It doesn't matter who's pitching. And that's going to obviously separate us from a younger standpoint, because a lot of these guys are hungry to get here.
Other questions? We'll take a couple more. Evan, and then Pat. That's Evan first.
Get your first real look at Alex Spees today. Your thoughts?
Yeah, he's so it was really cool. The first time I saw him the other day, he kept missing arm side with his fastball, but I knew that the command of his slider was impressive. Anytime he needed to get back in the count, he could throw a slider at any count. Today he threw his changeup a few times. We all know the fastball obviously is hit the 100 mark at times. But he has missed arm side, and his understanding of what's going on and his delivery, was impressive to me today, because I know Julio and Doug have talked to him a lot about the delivery, and on his fastball it's a little bit different than on his off-speed pitches. And for a young kid to kind of understand that, as he's trying to show off and compete against, at this in this scenario. He's trying to make the team, trying to show that we can call him up or put him on our roster at some point. It was really impressive. The stuff is electric. I mean, when you're throwing upper 90s, with a 91-mile-an-hour slider and a 90-mile-an-hour changeup that just goes straight down, it's the stuff is there, but this is what's impressed me the most.
And then the other thing was Jonathan Hernandez is still filthy.
Yeah. I don't want to hit off him. Just put it that way. He'd be last on my list of guys I want to face.
So how does this season, in the start of the season in particular, set up for he and Hearn to have an impact on this team?
Yeah, I mean, all year. I think they're going to be critical for our success. To have guys with that kind of stuff, both right and left. That if we have a 4-run lead and we feel comfortable for them to go multiple innings, if they hand it, if Kluber goes 7 and hand it off to one of those two guys and you finish it out, like it just allows us to, or we're down 2 in the 6th and we hand it to Jonathan and he keeps it right where it is for 3 innings. It gives our offense a chance to get back in games like that. Either that bridge guy or the finish out the game for 3 innings is super valuable. It just keeps all our guys healthy, and not only that, but they're just, like I said, they're absolutely filthy, both those guys, especially Jonathan with the movement that he has. If he's throwing the ball over the plate, he's tough to hit.
Thank you.
Okay, last question will be for Pat. Go ahead, Pat.
Hey, Chris, good to see you, Matt.
Good to see you, Pat.
About a week into this thing with summer camp, I'm just curious your general thoughts on how the stadium is playing, what the guys are saying about the turf, the AC. We just heard Kiner say that it's playing like a pretty good pitcher's park at this point. Just your general thoughts on week into this thing.
Yeah, I told you I'm not going to give any secrets away from how our ballpark plays, but yeah, I mean it's obviously bigger than our old park. We don't have the wind, we don't have the jet stream out in right center. The field itself is immaculate. Like the infield, the way the ball bounces off the turf, it's not typical turf. It plays more like real grass, but even grass sometimes the ball will snake. Here it doesn't do that. So our infielders love it. Our outfielders, it's true. When you run on it, it doesn't, it's not too soft, it's not too hard. I can't say enough about the field itself. The indoor 72, I honestly worry that we're going to have a little bit of a heat stroke when we get into 90-degree weather. When we go to LA or something. That's my biggest fear. Like we're not ready for the heat. It's funny to say that in Texas, but it's the truth. I mean, my office is cold. The field is almost chilly. Then I walk outside and it's 100 degrees. So we don't have to deal with that, which is a beautiful thing.